The tragedy in Kalamazoo has led some to question Uber's hiring practices, as the alleged shooter was apparently a driver for the ride-sharing giant. Reporter Helen Floersh talked with some LA drivers to learn more about what it takes to hit the road with Uber.
I love Uber. I love all the drivers. I love talking to them.
Uber has become more than just an app. It's a cultural phenomenon.
I actually use it quite often, every day I would say.
I probably take the USC Uber at least every other day.
Probably at least 3 times a week.
According to the company's website, Uber has drivers in 382 cities around the world. But what does it take to drive for Uber?
As far as steps, I didn't feel like there's many steps, I guess, because I pass it.
Thomas Frazier started working with Uber in November. The comedian, who also has a commercial driver's license, says the company mostly uses email to talk with drivers.
A message. I think a lot of it's through email. You don't really talk to anybody on the phone.
But when it comes to emergencies, Frazier feels like Uber has him covered.
Yeah, you're right. Because I just got a flat tire a couple of days ago. And when I wrote into them, they wrote back saying, call this line and just let them know.
Perfect.
So yeah, they did have an emergency line.
Steve Seifert is a musician who also drives for Uber and Lyft. He's been working for Uber since September.
It's made it definitely a lot easier for me to be able to work on any bizarre schedule that I have.
Still, Seifert thinks drivers are the ones who should worry about safety.
You don't know what people have on them. You don't know if they have weapons. You don't know if they just robbed a liquor store.
Then again, Seifert says it's worth the risk to help his music career.
Help that way. And then people want to come and see the band play, and they want to know when I'm playing, and then they'll come down and see me play.
For Annenberg Media,